Hello everyone, welcome to a review of this, a Peugeot 2008. The one I've got here is a 1.2 turbo automatic in GT line spec. So it's got the extra little jazzy bits and pieces on the bodywork to make it look aggressive. It's got the nice diamond cut alloy wheels, but if we have a look, doesn't she look stunning? This must be one of the best looking small SUVs around. Nice aggressive lines, loving these daytime running lights, so they're like cat's claws essentially. Beautiful. Just at every angle the car just looks absolutely fantastic, and of course it's got the little hexagonal designs there just to break up the big pieces of metal that are on here, and it reminds me a bit of the design language of the Citroën DS range. And of course these lovely rear lights, they're like 3D floating lights. I don't know if you can see here, look, they got like a 3D effect on them, so fantastic, great road presence, and of course being the GT, it just looks that even more better, doesn't it? Cool. So design wise, looks stunning. How is it like for practicality? Shall we have a look? Boot. It's okay. It's about so-so. You'll get your pram in and your weekly shop, and that's the main intended purpose for this sort of vehicle. And have you got any hooks for shopping? No? What's this? Oh, that's just for, oh yes, I know what that is for. When you lift this up and you want to hold it, you like this, and you got some underfloor storage. Look at that. But not much, so not world leading in terms of boot space, but you know what, it's acceptable enough. Let's get her closed up. Oh blimey, that is a bit of a stiff door to close there, boot to close. Let's have a look at the back. And in the back, obviously I've got that seat way forward, so don't think that's the standard space. That's in my driving position, and as you can see, plenty of leg space, but head space is not too bad. So someone like me, who's 5'6", will get in quite easily, and the seats are quite just below waist height for me, so it'll be easy to get in and out of. But here I find, because of these SUVs, you have to kind of lift your leg up a little bit and then plonk yourself in, and then you can behold the lovely interior. But yeah, plenty of headspace for me, but really, oh, should mention, nice little features like you got your USB, 2 of them in the back, so you got, if you got a couple of kids, they're not going to argue over everything. And nice little touches like the green stitching on here, a bit of fake leather. Otherwise here is good, and being the GT, this one's got the half leather half cloth, but to be honest with you, me personally, for the longer term durability, you want them in full cloth, because these leathers, they don't last, they're not that durable for the longer term. And can you see something that's missing? Yes, no center armrest. I mean, what on earth is going on? I suppose the only benefit is it's got a 60-40 split, so these two go down and you can still have a passenger if you wanted to get your shopping. So overall, the seat height is good. The base is not that long, so if you're slightly taller, you might find that your under thigh support isn't quite there. And the seats are so-so for comfort. But one thing I'll say is reclined nicely, so you should be able to find a comfortable seating position, especially because being an SUV, it's got loads of space underneath the seats there. Sorry, the lighting is not the greatest in the world, but yeah, still saying yes. So you got plenty of space underneath to just try and slouch a little bit, but nonetheless, in terms of overall comfort, I would say it's an okay on this one. I mean, you got children will be comfortable, and let's be honest, this is what this car's going to transport in the back in the most part, isn't it? Children. So 3 children in the back quite easily, and you've got the tethering points for your seat, child seats, quite easily accessible there. So in that sense, it's pretty good. And then the doors, they open out not that wide, unfortunately, but they're okay again. Okay seems to be an operative word in terms of practicality here for the class, that is. But yeah, so as you can see, it's not, the opening aperture is not that great, but it's not that bad either. For me personally, I just find it a little bit, because it's higher there, if you've got mobility difficulties, trying to get your leg in to get inside is going to prove a little bit difficult. But the positive thing with this is, let me close the door, is that the door covers the inside edge. So if you're on a rainy day or a muddy day, whatever, and you're trying to struggle to get in and out, your back of your legs aren't going to be full of dirt because the door seals are fully covered. So that is fantastic. Let's look at the front. Does it get any better? In the front, yes, these seats are nice and supportive. Again, they're not the widest in the world, so if you're slightly more amply sized, it may be a little bit uncomfortable on the outside edges, shall we say, for want of a better word. But yeah, otherwise, for the most people, these will be really nice and comfy, I've got to say. They are really good. The figure hugging and these bolsters really support you, and the benefit on this one is it's got a front isofix as well, so you can actually fit 3 baby seats in this car, which is amazing indeed. And then of course the main thing about this car, the design of the interior is really jazzy. I mean, materials are quite good up here. I'm not really sure about if I like this fake carbon fiber effect, but as you can see, the design wise, I think it's absolutely stunning. It does have that wow factor, and I think it's nicely set off by these mood lighting here. Subtle, but doesn't look like some sort of nightclub, so good little balance there. As you can see, I'm a real big fan of the design language for the interior. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the piano black. This car's relatively new and it's already looking a bit worse for wear, the piano black, so where possible maybe PPF it, or when you order it, try and order for the matte edition version of it. But otherwise, yeah, driver's seat, nice and comfortable, and you all know about that steering wheel. Nice tiny little steering wheel, feels like a little bit of a toy. At first I found it a little bit hard to get used to, but now I've driven it for a little while, actually I really like it. I really do. I know it interferes with sometimes for some people in terms of the vision of the display there, but for me it doesn't affect me at all, and I just really like it. It just makes it so easy to drive once you get used to it, of course, because obviously it's a lot smaller than your standard cars. The one thing I don't like though is the gear knob. I don't like all of this. So to move from drive, neutral, you have to use the lever there, and then to park it though, you have to press that button. So I'm not really a big fan of that. I'm more of a traditionalist. I like a stick shift to go through my gears, or I like it how it's on Mercedes, etc., on the stalk there. Shall we go for a drive? Yeah, let's go for it. So up onto the high street, around 30 miles an hour, pottering about at 30 is, I think, the sweet spot for this car, because it is super smooth, nice and quiet. The ride is very compliant. It's just either side of that band, the car is just unsettled. At lower speeds, as I've already stated, the gear changes are really hesitant. The engine is just, yeah, it feels like it's going to cut out on you or something like that, you know, or stall on you, for example. Just not smooth at all. And then at higher speeds, as you get beyond 40 miles an hour, the ride just becomes a little bit unsettled. The car just feels just doesn't feel planted to the ground, as it were. And the road noise, especially from the tyres, does increase exponentially, so it becomes not really the pleasant grown-up experience that you expected when you're pottering about like this at 30 mile an hour and it's so nice and smooth. So there's a day and night difference between the two when it comes to that. But yeah, there you go. 30 mile an hour is a sweet spot. Either side, not that great. Off to a final review. There you have it. She drives lovely. And before I do the final review, I should add, one of the things about the technology is that you can't really see it on here, but I really like the digital display. It's like a 3D effect, which is really nice. But as nice as this infotainment system looks, maybe I'm getting old, but you have to like press these buttons here. Well, they're not buttons, but touch sensitive to get to that. And then, like, I wasn't sure how to do the climate control, so I think you just like press this button, and then you have to faff around going on here. You click that, and then you up and down, this, that, and the other on here. It's just like too much of a faff. I was really struggling with this as I was driving, and I just needed a nice little knob there just to dial it up or down, or some buttons to dial it up and down. And I didn't think I would say this like all the other driving reviewers, but I agree with them wholeheartedly. It's just so difficult as you're driving and you suddenly think like, oh, it's a little bit too nippy in here, or too hot, I want to change the temperature. While you're driving, it is so unsafe to do so. But there you go. I suppose it's one of the things you have to pay for having such a beautiful designed interior. And you know, being a Peugeot, all these electronics, longer term it does worry me, but you know, it is what it is. I love the features on this GT line. You've got see, look, it's just like, I don't know what's going on. Here we go. It's just it's touch sensitive. There you go. Yeah. Heated seats. You got nice GT sign there just to remind you that you got paid extra for GT. And I think for GT you get these like, I'm not a big fan of this green colour stitching, but there you have it. Yeah, I thought that's my moany bit over about the tech. Maybe I'm a bit too old school, but otherwise, you know, I suppose it's a compromise you make for having such a beautiful dashboard. Now, in terms of the conclusions for this vehicle, is this something you'd recommend? Well, for the many SUVs, if you're looking for something that's the best looking car in class, well, this is it. I think it just looks absolutely stunning, but it's stunning in a way it's elegant as well at the same time, so it's not overly in your face or loutish. So in that sense, it's perfect blend. In terms of reliability, well, no, when they're new they're alright, but longer term ownership, especially with the 1.2 turbo with this wet belt, they're not known for their longevity, and so making sure that it's regularly serviced is critical on this car. But yes, so they got not the most reliable, but they do look wonderful. But if you're buying it new, don't worry, they're perfect. Like, this is the 22 plate, so I would say you'd be able to drive this for another 3, 4, 5 years, no problems. It's just once they go beyond, like say the 6th anniversary, and they go approaching 80, 90,000 miles and beyond, that's when you start getting issues with these. Whereas like a Toyota CHR, I could drive that till about 200,000 miles and not worry about anything. So that's the key difference. Would I buy this over the CHR? No, I'd buy the CHR every day of the week, because the CHR still looks nice. This I think looks a little bit nicer, but overall that one is so much more reliable, less headache in that sense. And I just worry about the technology in this car. It looks all nice, but if it all goes, my goodness, it's going to be such a hassle. So for me, love this car. Buy this car if you like the design, but otherwise Toyota CHR is the one to go for all day long. Do like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one, everyone. Ta-da.